This is Chew on This with your host, Monique Baker McCormick, and her co-host, Michael Van Tull, powered by the McCormick Report, Detroit's longest-running online community newsletter since 2008.
Welcome to Chew on This, another episode. Thank you so much for listening today. And you know, I have my co-host, Michael Van Tull over here.
Hello, good to be here, and we've got an exciting podcast for you today.
Yes, we have two special guests. One is a sitting city council person, Mary Waters, and she's going to come in and talk a little bit about herself and her campaign and the difference that she's making or want to make going into her second term.
Yes.
And we also have our segment, Nibble on Health
with Gloria Ross, and you all are maybe familiar with her by now. This is not the first time she's been on. She's a regular segment here on Chew on This Detroit, Nibble on Health, and we're going to be talking with her. She's here in the studio now.
Yes. So before we go into that, I just wanted to again let you know that we're here providing information that you can use and share it. So I hope you'll make sure that you send this podcast out to your friends and family, because we're going to talk about some things that are real issues and real concerns. And that's what we're about. We're about making a difference in our community. As a person that was born and raised in Detroit, and as a Wayne County Commissioner, I want to continue to help our community thrive, not only survive. And so one of the reasons we started this podcast is to do just that. And Mike is here. He's going to help, and we're going to bring resources. Like, for instance, we have a whole free vision program, and I'll talk about that a little later as well, and dental programs that your family or friends might need in the community. So so just stay with us today, and we'll talk about
and throughout
all of those things.
And throughout the year, we're going to be bringing not just political stories and issues and people, but also local issues, lifestyle issues. We're going to have all of that for you. So, stick with us, and you'll learn a lot listening to Chew on This Detroit.
That's right. So, hey, we got our segment, Nibble on Health with Gloria Ross, and I am so glad that you're here and in the studio with us today to talk about some things that are important to our community in relation to health. What are we going to talk about today?
The most dreaded disease. Oh, am I too close, sir?
We can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you
All
go.
right.
There you go.
So, cancer.
Mm.
Cancer is really growing right now amongst a certain population, and that's Gen X and the millennials. The children that were born in the 80s and 90s. Okay, Gen X and millennials. So there's a increase in cancer rates amongst young people, mainly under 50.
What is it a result of?
So,
What do you think?
Yeah.
Anyway.
okay, so they really think it's related to one of the things, the factors are obesity, lifestyle, food.
What we
Okay.
eat. Back to
Right.
that thing.
Right.
Food.
Lack of exercise. So the studies right now are on why is it happening more now in this generation are getting cancers earlier than the previous generations. So it could be something environmental that happened during the exposure to certain chemicals. And maybe in the 50s, 60s, there were 100,000 different chemicals in our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's probably 500,000 different chemicals.
Plastics too.
Yeah, we're using plastic. Back in the 20s and 30s, rarely were our generations exposed to chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So the leading cancers right now in the generation of the Gen X and the millennials, the number one leading cancer for men is colorectal, number one cancer. And for women, it's the second leading colorectal. The other thing they think it could be is there was a time years ago when doctors were prescribing antibiotics like it was candy. And the population was constantly reminded, don't go to the doctors and ask for an antibiotic if you have a cold, because they knew that it was causing problems back then related to resistance. But now they think it's something due to what they call the microbiome. That's new emerging research on the gut health. So what could happen possibly when the mother was pregnant, she was exposed to medication that caused problems in her gut and also caused problems in the child's gut. So that's one of the things they're researching right now.
It's so much, it's scary. It's so much involved. I even heard that, alcohol, consumption of alcohol.
Yes.
Also, sexual activity.
Yes.
Especially in young people.
Yes.
Is also causing some of those cancers.
Right.
Yeah.
The HPV virus.
Yes.
That's one of the things. Alcohol, they used to believe that moderate alcohol was okay. Now the new emerging research, there's unbelievable data stating that if we have one drink a week, men and women, that can actually do harm.
Really? Just one?
One drink, because alcohol is toxic.
Uh-oh, Mike.
Well, I can tell you that there's a lot of people listening
Right.
that fall right into that category.
Yeah, not
okay?
only you. That's
Right.
true.
Right.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, but I also think, when we find out about all of these new studies and we look back in history and they're trying to figure out what we did differently, there's always something in the past that we're now finding out it impacted us. Just
Yes.
like now how opioids, when you would go to the doctor a couple years ago, they would just, hand them out and give them out. And then now we have a whole group of people that are addicted and dying from these
Opioid
opioids.
overdoses, yeah.
Right. So it's the same with antibiotics. I believe that is so true that we kind of overdosed on antibiotics in a sense that our bodies can't fight the diseases by themselves, by itself,
Right.
because we're so addicted to something helping us get over it, but that now it's not helping us anymore.
Right, it's not effective
It's
anymore.
not right.
Yeah.
Yes. And we never know what we don't know. And so there's always new information, new scientific studies that are coming out And we realized that what we thought was helping us in the past is no longer helping us. It actually could be
Harming us. Yeah.
Yes. And the other thing, the studies are showing that it's possible that even anti-nausea medication, when a mother is going through morning sickness and they take the medication, that possibly could have affected the baby. You know, so right. And there was a generation that didn't have all of these medications, you know, so there's a side effect to every pharmaceutical drug that you take.
You know, I
but
even
we just
heard,
don't know.
I even heard some hair products with the chemicals, once again, have so many chemicals in them now, you know.
Yeah, you're right. That's so true.
And
I
I'm
mean,
actually
everything.
sponsoring a resolution that talks to chemicals in synthetic hair that is causing cancer, and in some cases, allegedly, and that also causes hair loss and other side effects. So, you know, there's the saying that medicines make you sick, certain medicines. So that's basically what you're saying, that we have to be careful with what we put in our bodies, on our bodies, because it could literally kill you.
The hair grease, the lotions,
all of that,
topical items that you put on you, you know,
right,
so much.
Everything. And there was someone that he died recently. What was his name? The actor, Black Panther.
Oh yes,
right.
I know.
So I mean, having colon cancer.
As young as he was.
Yeah, he was only 43.
Right.
Yeah. Chadwick
Boseman.
Yes.
Boseman. That's his name. Yep.
And so what happens is, you know, as far as prevention, prevention is the key to everything, to anything related to your health. Prevention. You know, drinking your water, exercising, eating something green every day, eating healthy, staying away from the sugar. Sugar causes inflammation in the body. Another new study, cancer. Cancer, if you're obese, you're more highly, your risk factor goes up for cancer. And that's because it causes inflammation.
So something you always get back to is a better, healthier diet. That seems to be a key
the bottom
theme.
line.
Yes. You have to, because you have trillions of cells. And basically that's what the cancer is, uncontrolled growth of cells in your body.
Because we automatically have cancer cells, but it's the overgrowth of them.
Yes. They're out of control, and they grow and grow and grow, and they form tumors, and then they take over. And so you can feed cancers with sugar. So it's like, look at what you're eating. Be conscious of what you're eating every day.
And drinking, like we talked about, cut back on alcohol consumption.
Yes.
And cut back on unprotected sex, especially for young people, because that's a whole nother arena where there are vaccines out now to help prevent cancer for younger people because of unprotected sex.
Right. And it doesn't happen right away. As a matter of fact, we're having a memorial on Saturday for my sister who passed. And it was related to HPV. And unfortunately, they didn't have the vaccine for us during our generation. And, you know, some people don't believe in vaccines, you know, and that's your choice, you know, but at least it's there, you know, if you choose.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that valuable information. I don't know.
It's a difficult topic.
It is.
We have to
talk
cover
about it.
You know.
Right.
And we have to think about ways in which we can change the way we do things so that we can live longer and live healthier. And so,
Right.
again, this is what Chew On This is about. You know, what can we chew on that's going to be more healthy, literally more healthy to us in the short run and the long run.
Right.
And so I'm so glad you came with that information.
Yeah, we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
did need to talk about it. So thank you.
Right.
Gloria Ross
Yes.
for
Did you-
our segment, Nibble on Health. Yeah.
And did you have a closing statement that you wanted to make?
Only because I thought a chat with Boseman at
Uh-huh.
43, many men, and it's not just, it seems to be that men have a problem with something being put up in their rectum. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
simple as that.
Yep.
But it's
It's a
easy,
cultural thing.
Yeah, but it's
Generations,
really easy test to go get a colonoscopy. And I'm not sure what happened in Boseman's case, but he was only 43. But that's the number one, the easiest cancer to treat and
Yep.
cure.
And I got a colonoscopy before, and I didn't even know it was over. They put me out. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah,
they
right,
knocked
right.
me out. Got anesthesia and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and woke up and it was over with.
Right,
So
right.
So men,
don't be afraid.
that's right.
Yes.
Because
Tell them, Mike.
It could
Tell 'em.
Right.
because it's your life. It's either you don't do it and suffer the consequences. It's so much better, and you don't feel anything. Just have them knock you out. Okay,
Yes.
that's all.
That's
Simple.
it,
You
right.
know,
That's
you
it.
won't even know. You don't even
Yes.
know what's happening.
That's it. That's it.
But you're buying yourself some more time.
That's
in
right.
life. Yes.
And we
Right.
want you to be around much
That's right.
longer. Your family needs you. So,
That's right.
men, you stop it.
Man up.
That's right. Just do
Yeah.
it. Just do it. Get
Yeah.
it over with.
That's right.
Thank you so much for
Gloria
coming.
Ross,
And
thank
we
you.
look forward to our next segment with you.
All right.
Nibble on Health with Gloria Ross.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This is Chew on This with your host.
So,
Monique
welcome
Baker.
back to Chew on This.
Glad that you're here. And as promised, Mary Waters is here, Detroit City Council member at large. So she covers the whole city. She's been with the UAW, American Federation of Teachers, Detroit Federation of Teachers, and former state rep. And I believe this is your second term, or will be the second term, at Detroit City Council.
It will be the second term. I'm running for my second term.
Great.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Mary Waters. Welcome to Chew on This
Well,
Detroit.
thank you so much, and I like that name, Chew On This.
Yep, it works. It's working for us.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming. I met Mary, and she probably don't even remember, way back when she was running for state rep.
Okay.
Yes, with the
Yes.
Community Coalition.
Well, I know that we met some time ago. Yeah,
Yes.
vaguely, I remember that.
Yeah, so we had Ernest on the first segment.
Yeah.
Ernest Johnson, who was the leader of the coalition, but I just remember meeting you. You were the first politicians that I met,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, you know what? I want to be like her when I grow up, And so I really appreciate you being here because I know that you've been in politics and in government for a long time. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yes, I can say that prior to this office, the first office I ran for was Charter Revision Commission. And I ended up being the vice chair of the Charter Revision Commission. And of course became precinct delegate. I can't remember the first time I ran for precinct delegate because I'm still precinct delegate. I think it's a very important role for all of us to have. It's very important for our communities as well. And then became a state representative. Served 6 years there until I was term limited. They've extended the term limits now, but after 6 years, those of us during that time, hey, we were out of there. They said, you don't have to go home, but you've got to leave here. You've got to leave here. But it was an interesting time in the state legislature first African American female floor leader in the history of the Michigan House of Representatives. And I did not miss one day of work.
Wow.
I take public service very serious. It's a very serious job.
It
People
is.
depend on you. They count on you. And so when I got elected to city council, I could do a lot of things with my eyes closed, you know, because I was ready and understood how to get things done. And the fact that I had those Lansing relationships, understanding that process, which is the same, similar processes if you talk about on the federal side. See, when you are at the local level, all of your partners are extremely important. Your state legislators and your federal legislators need to understand what the needs are locally.
Right.
So it's important that you have city council members who understand that and who's willing to help to educate people at those levels. That is why they go to Lansing. That is why they go to Washington, D.C., so that they can help us, bring home the bacon.
That's right.
We need those resources here in this city. And right now, even more, because we no longer have the Biden-Harris administration to give us, those opera dollars and so forth, but we were able to create a number of programs at the city level. I created the Senior Accessibility Program, started the Veterans Department, first ever, created the Next Step 313 program, which is a young entrepreneurs program, put $5 million in a homeless initiatives. There were a lot of things, $203 million in our housing initiatives, created a one-stop shop dedicated call center, provided down payment assistance for first-time home buyers up to $25,000, home repairs. We put more money in that. So
you've done a lot, and I didn't even realize that either.
I've heard you say more just now than what I've heard from many other people.
Yeah.
But I won't name names.
Right.
That's a lot of work.
That is.
Yes. Did not go there to play.
That's right.
I went there to get some things done.
And you're doing.
Created the very first Tenants' Rights Commission ever in the city of Detroit.
I was so proud of you on that one because I've been fighting for tenant rights for a long time.
Yeah.
So I was really glad to hear that.
Yeah, and the compliance ordinance goes right along with it. I did that ordinance so that people will have a voice. If you live in a home and folks are refusing to make repairs, you have the right to put your money in escrow until those demands are met. And so we want the relationships. We want to make sure that the renters are being fair to the landlords and vice versa.
Right.
We've got to be respectful. You won't want to rent somebody's place and go in and tear it up.
That's right.
That's not,
That's
but
right.
at the same time, if
You don't want a slumlord
you don't want a slumlord either. So all of those things are absolutely critical. And,
So speaking of that, so who would a person contact if they have a situation where they're living in a house and the landlord isn't taking care
Or
of
an
their
apartment
property?
building, because we hear about now we're hearing about air conditioners that are not working, and elevators that don't work.
Yes.
And in the wintertime, we hear about the heaters.
He's
There's no
not
heating
working.
in the
That's
building.
right.
Yes. And that,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just went down to on the east side yesterday, Jeffersonian, where they weren't
they're having some
any
problems.
air. And so the tenants there are saying they are working things out with them. In fact, today was supposed to be the day that they will be back on 100% in terms of, the air working. Yeah. And so I told the residents there, those that I spoke with, I said, I need you to call me if it's not working.
So you're asking people to reach out to you directly.
Right.
But is there not like a direct number for situations with
Well,
tenants?
now they can call, that dedicated housing center that I told you about.
Right.
They can call 1-866 866-313-2520. That's
Okay.
all of your housing
Okay,
needs.
that's exactly what
866-313-2520.
Okay.
And now that we have a tenant rights commission, we're waiting to get them all set up,
Okay.
and they're going to have a number too. So they're going to be
Right.
able to have people to help them across the board.
But you also, just like me as a commissioner,
Mhm.
I always offer myself up.
Mhm.
Contact my office if you're not getting anywhere.
Mhm.
Contact me directly. So
Yes.
I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you have to, because
Yes.
sometimes, when you're getting thousands of telephone calls in a call center,
Mm-hmm.
there are things that are, they can just fall through the cracks sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
And, I did name that call center after Kamaya Davis. It's called the Kamaya Davis Family Resource Center.
Oh no!
You remember Kamaya Davis?
I remember the
The 11-month-old baby who fell through a hole in the floor
Yes.
into a basement,
remember.
drowned in water and feces.
Yes.
Listen, the purpose of that is to remind all of us that no child should have to die that way or live that way.
That's right.
And that's one of those compliance issues.
Right.
You had a hole in the floor in your house and you're renting it out.
Why would you even be able to rent it? Something like
Well,
that.
and speaking of that, Commissioner, let me tell you, many of the landlords in the city are not in compliance. We only have about 10-11% of them are in compliance. We don't even know who some of these landlords are who are renting out their properties. So we've lowered the payments. Now you can go and register your home for about $125. Whereas before it was like $800, $900 to my dollars. That is not the case anymore. My ordinance has made it much easier. There are no excuses. We're the only city in this state that's that low.
Right.
Some cities are 90 and 100%.
Well, I think a lot of landlords don't want to report because
Well, they don't. They're pretty upset about the ordinance too. Some of them.
Of course, because they want to get away with not taking care of a property like they should.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm like totally for all of the things that you're pushing for in that area, because that causes our property values to decrease when you have a slumlord, somebody on the block that's not taking care of their house. Now, is there a reporting system that when you live in a house or somebody's renting a house out and is not in compliance? Is there a phone number that someone can report them out?
That's going to be the same number.
That's great.
That's why I created the one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
And our housing and revitalization department will be the ones who help to set up the escrow account.
Okay.
All right, they're going to set the escrow account so that when people and senior citizens, they are in love with this compliance ordinance because sometimes there are just things that are not working in their apartments,
right?
And they're being ignored. So time is out for that. And no more. We're not going to have you treating our residents any kind of way. So it's taken us a while to get to this point. But now there's a new sheriff in town.
And now they have to answer to somebody because they're going to get a call. They're going to get a call. And they're going to get a letter.
Yes.
Yes, something is going to be addressed.
They are. I had a senior to email me the other day, and immediately I saw the email myself, and I said, reached out to our building and safety department, and I said, they was like, we're sending somebody out right away. They didn't have air conditioning that was working in their building over on Whitmore Street, And so seniors know. They know that when they reach out to my office, unless we miss a call or something, they know that we're going to respond. And we've done a lot of work with this land bank, Commissioner. I know you understand what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yes.
I do. My former life as a real estate broker. Well, I'm still a real estate broker. I just don't really take on that many clients anymore. So, and I'm not sure if we have the numbers or you have the numbers because you talked about you didn't really know those that didn't register their homes. But I was wondering,
I mean, we have like most of the housing stock here in this city now
is
We have majority renters.
That's
Yes.
what I was going
We
to
don't
say.
have as many homeowners. We are trying to get back to the point helping people become homeowners. But right now we have the majority renters, and so we have to do better by that. And there are thousands and thousands of renters. I just left the tenant right commission meeting tonight, and some of the stories, Commissioner, that they got up to tell about how they're being treated in their places. You hear me? How bad they're being treated. We're not going to tolerate it. I'm going to send, we're going to look at this tomorrow, and we're going to send our department out there to investigate. And so, we're just not going to tolerate that kind of treatment.
Right, and then it's the people that don't even live in the community or even in the country
that own these homes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And don't care.
Exactly. And the other issue that we're having, I'm trying to get some of our folks in Lansing to do a state law that says if you have all these LLCs, you got to identify yourself. We need to know who you are, because the city, we are running into major problems. They're hiding behind it.
That's right.
Oftentimes, our assessor's office cannot find them. Our board of review cannot find them. We don't know who they are.
You know, Councilwoman Mary Waters is so right when she talks about not knowing who these people are owning all of these properties in our neighborhood, causing our property values to go down. We're going to continue to fight against slumlords and those that are taking advantage of our tenants. Thank you again to our Councilwoman for being on today. What a great show today.
Gloria Ross with the Nibble on Health segment earlier. Tough topics to talk about, but we have to talk about it because it's a matter of life and death. So,
and it's all about how we change the way we eat,
lifestyle,
right? Lifestyle,
what we drink, how much we drink,
exactly, to reduce our chances.
What we put on our body, on our hair, our skin. So there was a lot involved, and I'm glad that you invited her to have a regular segment because it's a lot.
Because today we got information on reducing the risk of cancer, and that is so vitally important. Because she talked about young people getting cancer, younger and younger people getting cancer. And so, we got to take better care of ourselves. And like you said, we'll have her back again.
Yes. And Mary Waters, council member, just a lot of information. She's one of those people that have been hit on the ground from day one, working hard to get things done in this town, and there's not a lot of workers like her.
Right. You could tell that she is about doing the work for the people. This isn't about her
and a photo op and all that kind of stuff.
Right, or just getting a paycheck type thing. Because we know a lot of politicians that are not there really, for the
they
people.
Do it for a paycheck.
Unfortunately,
they do it for a paycheck, and they do it for a photo op.
Right.
You're lucky we don't name names. On
right.
This show.
I'm not naming names.
We may one day.
Yeah, he might name names, but I'm just trying to stay away from pointing fingers because in my space I have to.
But I can tell you this:
do the work, and I do the work.
Sometimes
I do the work.
We may, or I may, call out somebody's name. Okay, right. So we may do that.
Well, stay tuned for that, right? Stay tuned.
Yes, but we had a great day today. We were able to get a chance to spend some time with Growth Works on the Detroit River today.
Yes.
Great organization in Livonia that because you're Wayne County. We cover Wayne County,
right? And Growth Works covers Wayne County, and in fact they cover Redford as well. Mm-hmm. We have 5 CMOs in Wayne County, which is basically care management organizations. And what they do is manage the care of our juvenile youth that have been caught up in the system somehow, or that need some additional resources, their families. And so the care management organizations are there to provide those resources, not only for the juvenile, but also for the family. So Growth Works is one of those
and
organizations.
a lot of those CMOs work with the courts. They're court ordered.
That's right.
Juveniles are sent there to rehabilitation, recovery, help, and things like that.
Yes.
Another organization that I worked with for many years, Vice Chair of Franklin Wright Settlements, we do a lot of that too. Court appointed professionals to help young people that have been sexually abused, verbally abused in the family, abusive situations, to help build families back. So there are a lot of organizations that are in this town that are working, and you may not know it.
That's right.
And
that's
I think
right.
maybe it's a good thing that we can bring that to light.
That's exactly what this program is about, making sure that we help the community by providing timely information that you can use and apply every day. And to me, our young people are so very important, and whatever we can do to assist them and their families, because for a long time I was a parent leader. Actually, at every school that my daughters attended, I was that parent that was always there, and I was the president of the parent PTA organization, because I know that the schools are ours. I would tell my parents that all the time. It's your school, it's your tax dollars, it's your children. Without us, the schools would not exist. And so I was always there fighting for resources for the parents and the students. And I know if our parents can thrive and do well, then our children are going to be successful. So I'm always looking for ways to help adults be better at being adults, and that means taking care of their family, because it's difficult. It can be difficult trying to juggle all of these things.
And for me, that time when our kids are in school is so short. The time is short when they're in kindergarten. The time is short when they're in middle school and elementary. The time is very short when they're in high school. Next thing you know, bam, they're a grown adult. Ready to go to college and get a job or something like that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to be involved with my son going to school every day and participating, I remember I used to help him with all of his projects, that were due, that you had to glue stuff together, that you had to make. I helped him with those projects, and I look back now on how valuable those days were, because they grow up and
so
they're
fast.
gone. Yes.
And we only have really a short time to get it right.
Yes.
We have that short window to give them everything that we got so that they can fly. I tell my parents that all the time, because you don't want them coming back, because what's going to happen if you don't give it to them on the front end, you're going to have to deal with it on the back end.
They're coming back.
And that's a much longer, more difficult process. So let's help our children in every way, in any way that we can, while they're young. And there are resources out there, and there is help. And we just, we're here to help you. We're here to find those resources. They're there, and unfortunately sometimes we don't do a good job of making sure people know where to find those resources, but I'm here to help you find them. That's why we are here.
Yes, I know we're getting ready to wrap up because we had a great show, but I did want to say I really enjoyed the fireworks recently.
Yes.
This summer, this summer's fireworks, I thought, for me, was the best in my life.
Oh, that
I've
finale.
never seen a better fireworks show in my
Yes.
life, okay? And I thought it was great. And, the police chief came by and he talked to us over at the Port Authority and stopped by and told us all the things, Chief Bedison, about all the things that he was doing to make sure it was safe. But of course, some idiots come downtown to cause trouble. You can't stop everything from happening. sometimes people have to take responsibility. And I just believe that it's got to be mental illness when people want to get a gun and shoot somebody for everything that ever happens, for making a mistake and stepping on their foot at the concert,
or brushing you or bumping you,
or they think you're not driving fast enough and they want to shoot you. You know, there's got to be something wrong with that. And I really believe that our schools need to have the first class every day ought to be about anger management. That is an epidemic of violence in this country, and we got to dial it back. I just don't understand why this country does not do something about including it in the school curriculum, how to handle anger, how to handle disappointment. They've got to do that. Because people are not doing it right. I was at the laundromat one day, and my clothes were drying in a dryer, and it was next to somebody else, and it looked like mine. I couldn't remember, but it looked like mine, so I opened it up to take it out, and I realized, oh, that's not the right one, and mine was right next to it. This guy complained and used all this profanity. What are you doing? You trying to take my stuff? Just stop messing with this. And so I thought it was over. 30 minutes later, I heard somebody talking in the laundromat. It was him. He was still angry. And I apologized for opening the dryer, and I closed it and it continued going drying. Right. Mine was right next door, and it still had some more time.
Right.
But the anger, and where does that come from? Why do people get so angry? And if I didn't handle it a different way, we would have been fighting.
That's right. Or somebody would have got killed over
right.
a door
because
that you opened and then closed.
Yes, because and I heard him talking, and I chose to ignore him. Because I had already apologized profusely the first time it happened, and that's why I was shocked. 30 minutes later, I could hear him mumbling. He was still complaining. Yeah. Yes, so we've got to do something about that anger. Okay, that I don't get on my soapbox. I don't get on my soapbox too much.
It is a problem.
But since we're here,
yes.
I want every once in a while take this opportunity,
and maybe that's a lesson for all of us, is to just breathe through situations.
Yes.
I mean, it's all about the choices of how we deal with each and every situation that we encounter. You can choose to be mad and angry, or you could choose to just say, okay, and walk away. And
choose
it's
your
okay.
battles. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to shoot somebody because they forgot to put their signal out when they were turning into McDonald's?
Right. Or,
and you had to throw on your brakes.
Or is it even worth it bringing your blood pressure up because somebody opened a laundry door to a dryer and closed it back because they mistakenly thought it was their it
ain't
clothes.
About all that. It's nothing to shoot somebody
exactly over. It's nothing to get angry about.
Right. You shouldn't even get angry about
it. And so we really have to choose to be kind. It's all about choosing kindness. Choices.
There are a lot of people sitting in jail right now that wish they would have handled something
differently.
But it's too late.
It's too late.
They're in there for the rest of their life.
So, y'all, let's be kind to each other. Let's try to reduce all of the anger. that's penetrating,
violence,
because we do have a lot going on in our communities, in our society
in
right
our
now.
Own personal lives.
In our personal lives, and then we have the country that's our country that's going through a lot. We're all going through issues.
Yes.
And you just never know what your neighbor is going through. So just be kind.
Dial it back, rein it in.
Be kind. Yes. And so with that, I just want to give you two, or actually three points of interest that you might have someone that's interested or need these services. Vision care. I wear glasses. So
me too.
We are providing free vision tests and glasses to young people in Wayne County. And if you need it, more information about that, you can call my office directly and we can give you the details. Of course, you can go online to waynecounty.com and find information on the Vision program. We also have dental care for families, low-cost dental care, and for young people. So if you have a young person or even an adult that needs help with dental, have a cavity, need braces, any and all of that, reach out to Wayne County. We have a partnership with U of D that provides dental care. So with that, I hope you got a lot to chew on today, and I hope you will share, chew on this Detroit with your family and friends.
Yep, and let them know that they can listen to, every monthly basis.
Actually, weekly.
Weekly,
Thursdays at 7. Yes.
We're on Spotify,
Yes.
Apple, all the major platforms, so it's going to be easy to find us.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
So
That's
thanks for watching Chew on This Detroit.
Thank you again. See you next week.
Detroit's longest running online community newsletter since 2008.